What's up, everybody? Squirrel Man's back again. Trying to do this is like a 6 week review. I only have like a couple of weeks left till I go home. For the most part, it's been pretty good. I've never been on the road for this long, this many consecutive weeks. I think the most I ever did was maybe 5 weeks. So, I mean, it's tough, but you just gotta get used to it. I think you have to train your brain that this is your life. This is it. There is no home. There's nowhere else you're going. This is it. This is what you do every day. Because if you're always at home in your mind, it's going to be 1,000 times harder for you out here. You're just not going to last, you know? So every day you wake up, you need to tell yourself there is no home. There's nowhere else you're going. Like, this is it, you know? And that sounds crazy to you maybe, but if you can do that, your life's going to be so much easier out here. And that's not an unhealthy thing to do. I think it makes the job a lot easier. It makes your overall morale a lot better. You know, yesterday I had to go back to the yard to get some work done on the truck, get some tires and stuff. So they put me in a hotel. There's a hotel right across the street from the yard at K&B. And they didn't hesitate. They're like, okay, we're working on your truck. We're just going to get you a room. And you can go hang out there for the night. I said, hell yeah, because I got to take a shower, and a real shower. I mean, not that that's not a knock on truck stop showers, by the way, because some of those are actually really nice, like really nice. But it was nice to sleep in a normal bed, you know. I wish I could have got that breakfast in the morning, but man, I had to get up at 4 o'clock this morning. And now my day's over. I had to go back in the sleeper. I'm on my way to Indiana tomorrow. Overall, I'd still give the company everything, because no one ever gets a 10. I don't care who you work for. No one's ever going to get a 10, because there's just no such thing, in my opinion. It's still a hard 7. Still a hard 7. I met my driver manager face-to-face yesterday. He was pretty cool, even though me and him have had a couple of disagreements over the last 6 weeks, but it's not worth making a video over. That's all I can say. I just try to be adult about everything. Overall, it's pretty good. They didn't hesitate at all to fix my truck. That was really easy. And that's good. If you're somebody that works for a company, you're watching this, you should never fight the driver on fixing the truck. Just do it. Because overall, it's going to make him a better product, you know? The better that truck runs, the better that truck looks, the better your company looks. So that's one thing you should never fight, you know? But on the other side of that, you, the driver, should pick your battles. That's another thing I want to say. Because I tried to get new airlines. Didn't technically need them, but I tried. And they didn't give them to me. But they replaced all my tires. So I was like, all right, you know, I'll call it a win. You know, they replaced all my tires, got brand new tires. So that's always good. Like I said, I go home in a couple of weeks for like 10, 12 days. That'll be nice. I'm going to be out here longer than normal, than some of the drivers, because I'm trying to pay off debt. So I'm just trying to stay in that mindset that, like I explained earlier, that this is my life. I'm just going to be out here. And I think in the wintertime it's going to get harder just because of the gloomy skies and stuff. I think you know what I'm talking about. You don't have to be a driver to know what I'm talking about. It just kind of gets depressing. So that might be a little harder to fight through that, but I'm just going to do it because it's not like I've never been on the road before in the wintertime. I think the hardest was when I was with Bar None, doing that in the wintertime. my mind was not right back then. I just didn't like being out here, you know. But this is different. And I'll tell you what really helps. Gonna talk about the paychecks. I got paid yesterday. It was somewhere around like $14.50. And that's been my smaller check. My biggest check so far was $19.37. This is after taxes. So yeah, smallest was like around $14.50. Biggest was around $19.37. So I think that's pretty good, because there's a lot of companies out there that you're not going to make that much, you know. Sorry. And if there are companies that are paying that, please feel free to tell everybody about them, you know. And what you heard is not fact. You know, I know for a fact what I'm making. I can see it. I'm the one earning it, you know. And to answer a question before you even say it, I've been averaging somewhere probably around 2,000 miles a week. So it's not a whole lot, but it's not just a little. You you know. So I think to bring home between $1,400-$1,500 and $2,000 a week for doing about 2,000 miles a week, that's pretty damn good. I think that's pretty damn good, because I've done close to around 3,000 miles a week and only brought home around $900, $800-900. And well, actually, I've brought home way less than that when I worked for Pam. I was averaging like $600-700 a week because they were robbing me blind. But these people, they expect you to work. They really do. They will keep you moving. They're not going to leave you in a parking lot for 3 days. I promise you. My biggest gripe really is just that they don't do resets. That's my biggest gripe. And for a couple reasons, I feel like I'm constantly running at the skin of my teeth. You know, I'm always looking at my clock and it's like, oh my God, I ain't got nothing on there. So at the end of the day, I have like nothing. And then I got to do a recap and I wake up with like just enough that I need. And that, it kind of keeps you on your toes. It is what it is. But my personal opinion on the resets is that even if you want to have a company that runs no resets like they do, you should at least do resets every other week. And the reason why I say that is because it's for driver morale. I think it's a good chance to let the driver pull over, calm down, you know, just kind of reset their gears, you know, take a breather. 34 hours is not going to make or break your company. It's not going to do it. But like I said, at least every other week you should be doing that. But that's not the case what I've been doing. I've been just running it the way they want me to. And I'm going to keep doing that. It's whatever. As long as I keep seeing these nice paychecks, like I said, I'm going to pick my battles. So it's whatever, you know, opinions and what's actually going to happen are two different things. Let me know what you think in the comments. Oh, and I will tell you, if you're going to come work for this company, I might have mentioned this before, but the biggest thing they are so crazy about is washing out these damn trailers. So if you come work here, do not ever wait for one of these driver managers to call you and say, did you wash out the trailer? If you have a second to do it, just do it. If you're in a parking lot and you see a blue beacon over there, just run over there and do it. Because it really only takes like 10 or 15 minutes. Unless you get stuck in a line. I think the longest I've ever waited was like 20 minutes. 20, 30 minutes. Well, no, there was one night when there was this jack off. I won't go into that, but I was stuck there for a while only because of him. But for the most part, it's really not that painful to get a trailer washed out if you've never done it before. I mean, they have you like in and out in like 10 minutes. It's not bad at all. And most of the time, you don't even have to get out your truck unless just to go in there and pay for it. If you do come work for this company, make sure you have a lot of those comm checks, which they give you, they're paper checks. Make sure you have a lot of those on your truck because you're going to use a lot of them, trust me. When you go, not really when you go to like Blue Beacon, but when you go to places they don't really have an account with, you end up using those comm checks, you know. It takes getting used to if you've never done this before. So, like I said, do not wait for your driver manager to call you on the phone and say, hey, is your trailer clean? And you should be looking at it every time it's emptied. You should be looking at it. And I mean looking at it, because I got myself caught up a few weeks ago when I thought it was clean, and then just to make sure, I climbed up in there, and lo and behold, there was blood all over the place. And if you're wondering why there was blood, it's because we haul meat, you know, and that meat drips, you know, and it gets blood all over the inside of the trailer. That's why they're constantly all the time washing out these trailers, you know, like all the time. I'd say like 8 out of 10 times before I go get loaded, I gotta go get a trailer wash out. Most of the time, I don't even I just do it just because I know it's better safe than sorry. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather show up knowing it was clean rather than thinking it was clean, getting there, and then some guy says, sorry, dude, and then he turns me away, and then it ruins my whole day because I got to go way out into the butt crack of nowhere to find a trailer wash, you know? So, like I said, if you have the chance, if it's right there, don't mess around. Just do it. You'll be better off in the long run, and your driver manager will always appreciate you for it, that he didn't have to tell you, you know? Because at the end of the day, they don't hire inexperienced drivers. I think you got to have at least 3 years of experience. So they don't want to remind you and teach you things that you should know already. And that's embarrassing. When you're an experienced driver, and you should know a lot of things. And when they have to tell you things, it's embarrassing for you and aggravating for them. So don't make them do that, because you should know better, because you're experienced, remember? So let me know what you think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Common sense ain't common.